New Thought Media Network. We are a global broadcast network of positive music, media, and entertainment, inspiring humanity's evolution along the journey of enlightenment and creating a world of love, peace, empowerment, and prosperity for all. New Thought Media Network. Positively inspiring.
Hello and welcome back to Global Focus today. I am your host, Reverend Dr. Sharri McMurray, ELF for the day. I thought since this is our last episode before Christmas, I would dress up a little. We have a new guest today, someone who hasn't been with us before, and a new kind of focus ministry in the bargain. Our guest is Cerise Patron, and my three interesting things about her. My favorite one is that she loves to dance, but she doesn't do it in front of others. She says it's her greatest joy when she's home alone, though. And that she played both violin and clarinet in middle school, but she had to decide what she was going to do. And when she went to high school, and she decided that the instrument she really wanted to focus on was her voice. And let me tell you, she made the right choice. No matter how good she was on the violin and the clarinet, she made the right choice. I have heard this lady sing. And thirdly, this one just makes my heart smile. She spent a number of years singing for hospice patients because it was such an honor to sing souls into the next life. Isn't that lovely? Please help me welcome Cerise Patron. Thank you so much for saying yes. I am just delighted that you are here with us today. And I played clarinet in high school too, but leaving it behind was not for my voice. It was just how it worked.
Well, thank you for having me.
Oh, you are so welcome. I am just have been tickled since I met you at the last Anton retreat and realized, that we had an untapped resource here that needed to be tapped. So I'm just going to answer a couple of general questions to get you started. And the first one is, how did you get started? How did you discover what your ministry was going to be? I know currently you're in ministerial school at Emerson, and but you're going to be a focus minister when you're finished there. So your ministry just is a little bit ahead of you. And I'm curious to know how you discovered that this was what you were supposed to do.
So it's actually not a happy story, but it's very real. So in 2011, my son Mateo was stillborn. And when we lost him, we did this beautiful trip to Machu Picchu so that we could honor his life. And while we were there, we realized that it would be a beautiful and lovely experience to offer that to other people. So that's how I began, was in losing my son, I found a way to honor him. And so my ministry is leading tours so that people can go to lovely and beautiful places around the world and heal from the things that they need to heal from. And it's powerful because, I always say, you can find God in your backyard. You don't have to go around the world, right? Because God's right here. But sometimes, especially when we're in a cycle of fear or pain or grief or sadness, we have to break free from the everyday so that we can go and find something new and allow it to really enter enter us and be a part of us. And so that is what my ministry really is. It's breaking free of the everyday, finding the magnificent that's in our world, because it's everywhere in our world is so much magnificence. Places that are on everyone's bucket list, or adventures that everyone has always wanted to do, like going to Machu Picchu or going to the rainforest and the Amazon, seeing pink river dolphins, going to Chichen Itza, going to Costa Rica and seeing whales. These adventures that really open us up to see how beautiful the world is, and that what's in front of us isn't everything that there is. And while we're there, we can deepen, honor, connect to source, connect to each other. Of course, I sing. So I've written a lot of original songs for these trips. And so I sing and do meditations and do all of these beautiful sacred experiences. And sometimes we work with local shamans, and we do these experiences where we really get to go into a profound journey that is more than just ourselves, and connect on such a deep human level, and then connect on a soul level that's even deeper.
So what you're telling me is that you are a tour guide, both internally and externally.
Sorry. Yes.
That's what I'm hearing. That this is a journey that the whole self takes.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
that is marvelous.
Yeah. And it's not always easy. It's not always easy. Some people say, oh, I'd love to go on this adventure so that I can relax. It's not always about relaxing. Sometimes we're hiking. I haven't heard
anybody say they relax their way up the side to Machu Picchu.
No. You don't relax up to Machu Picchu. No, you don't. But it doesn't make it any less profound. This is not a vacation. We don't just go and sit and drink Mai Tais on a beach or something. Although sometimes that can be part of it. We can have an experience, right? Or we do a dinner sometimes where we're overlooking the ocean, we're listening to the ocean waves and having dinner together. So there's some beautiful experiences, but it really is a trek. It really is a journey back to ourselves, and it's very profound.
So you blend your singing ministry and your tour ministry, and I think that's marvelous. But you have a new tour coming up pretty soon, don't you?
I do. I actually have a few this year, but the one that we still have spaces for is the Winter Solstice Tour in Peru. And so myself and Michael Mamina, a very good friend of mine, a beautiful life coach, we are going to be leading a group to Machu Picchu on the winter solstice there, because it's the other side of the hemisphere, in June. And we are actually going to be on Machu Picchu when the sun comes up over the mountain on the solstice and enters the Temple of the Sun that was built for that purpose on Machu Picchu. It is something I've done before, and it is just a powerful experience. It's a powerful experience to stand there and witness the return of the light and become one with it. So it's that one. I do have a few spaces left, and you can see all about that on the website. Our full itinerary, cost, everything like that is there, and it is worth every single moment. It's 15 days total, and we are doing Lima, Machu Picchu, Cusco, all through Cusco. There's so many other ruins than just Machu Picchu, and nobody really knows about them. So we do all of them that we can. And then we fly to the Amazon, and we spend 3 days on the Amazon River at an eco-luxury lodge. And we get to actually explore the rainforest, take a boat every day out onto the Amazon River and see the pink river dolphins. We get to commune with the wildlife. We get to see the 400-foot tall ceiba tree that was the inspiration for the Tree of Souls in Avatar. And we get to go play with baby orphaned monkeys, because there's a place called Monkey Island.
I've heard of
And
it.
yep, and all the monkeys that are saved, yep, from the black market, we get to go cuddle them and play with them and spend some time with them and help support that organization also.
Well, you're giving me double-decker God bumps.
I know. It's
So-
really a powerful experience.
This is probably an impossible question to answer, but I have to ask it just
Okay.
because I have. Which one's your favorite of all the tours you've done? Because you've done beaucoup de tours.
Yeah.
Which one's your favorite and why?
So I would say the place in my tours that is my favorite to go is actually in Peru, because I do other countries as well. But in Peru, there is a site that we visit, an archaeological site that is called Tipon. And it is Incan aqueducts. The Inca they have these channels and these terraces that were created. And these channels carry water from the mountain, that's the melt off from the glacier behind it. So it is fresh water, and they channeled it all the way down into the city in the town below. That water is so pristine and clean, and it has been running nonstop since they drilled into the mountain 900 years ago. And it's still flowing and providing water to the town below. We go up we take a bus up the mountain, and then we finish walking the rest of the way up to the original fountain. And we do a ceremony at the original fountain. And that, I think, is probably my favorite experience that we have on any of these tours, because it is so sacred, and you're connected. Water really is life, right? And so we sit in this, we talk about water being life, but more than that, we talk about the flow, because that's what's most important in our lives, is living in the flow and not trying to go against it. And so many of us don't want to change, or we don't want things to shift. And so we fight the flow. And so that's what we talk about. We sit at the water and we talk about going with the flow, and that it's not always easy, and it's not always beautiful. And sometimes it's difficult. When I lost my son, it was difficult, but I was given the choice to either, which we are all given that choice, to either keep going and live in honor of, or to stop and to stop living. And I chose not to. And so we talk about that at the water. We talk about the fact that we all have a choice. We have the choice to keep going. We have a choice to get back in the flow. We have a choice to go back to the water. And so it's one of my favorite experiences, and it's one of my favorite lessons that I still work on learning, right? Because we're still here, so we're still learning. And so
Never done.
Yep, we're not.
So how many tours in an average year? How many tours do you do? Are they regularly scheduled, or do you look for special events, or how does that happen?
So they're mostly regularly scheduled, at least the year before. So I do have 4 tours coming up this coming year. I do have 2 to Peru, and then I have 2 to Costa Rica. And so those are going to be really beautiful as well. And my first tour to Peru is actually in May, but it's sold out. So that one's already full. But on average, probably 4 to 5 tours. I've done as many as 7 tours in a year. And with a family of 3 kids and a husband and singing and other things here, that was too many. So I would say 4 or 5 is my max.
Yeah. Well, that's marvelous. And you said you schedule them about a year in advance, so people could find it. And I'm presuming, of course, that experienceissacred.com would tell us all about each one of them way in advance while there were still seats open.
Yep, absolutely. And I do have a tour coming up in 2026 that I'm already putting together, because it needs a lot more planning. And so that one's going to be to Scotland and Ireland. So we're doing 14 days, Scotland and Ireland.
Oh.
Yeah.
Keep me in the loop on that one.
I definitely will.
The name is McMurray,
Yeah.
So you've already filled up the plate. And I know that's not all that's on it, because you sing and you speak and you're currently in ministerial school. How do you keep all these balls in the air?
You know, a lot of people ask me that, and I don't know. For me, it's just normal. For me, it's just the typical way. Although I will tell you that this Christmas season is kind of kicking my behind, because it's a little now my kids are singing, and so they have their concerts and things like that. So it's been a little bit more hectic than usual. But for me, it's all things I love. I mean, if you told somebody, okay, you have to write music and sing songs and go record an album and get tours ready, most people would be like, I don't know how to do any of that stuff. It sounds overwhelming. But being my calling and something I love, it's not the same overwhelm. And I'm not going to lie, I get overwhelmed, but it's beautiful. And it's a gift that I get to give and receive. Yeah. So it really is a beautiful thing to do. And I'm in ministerial school, and I actually am very grateful, because 6 months ago, I graduated from Scottsdale Community College with my degree in travel and tourism management. And I was glad that that was done, because that was adding something else. But yeah, it's such a blessing. It's such a blessing to be able to do what I love. And I don't think when I was 17 or 18 years old, when I was in high school and singing with the choir, I could have ever imagined that I would get to live my dreams in this way. And my grandmother used to say, you have to be a blessing and be blessed. You can't just have one. You can't just be blessed, and you can't just be a blessing. It has to be reciprocal. And that's what I feel like I get to live every day of my life.
And that's what I'm hearing you say, is that, harking back to the water in Peru, what your grandma was saying is you can't run water through a hose and leave the inside of the hose dry.
Exactly. That's very true.
You are very much mastering that flowing, being in the flow of the flow at the same time, which is a delight to my heart, and I'm sure a delight to yours too. And there was a note in this material you sent me that just blew me away. Because in addition to juggling a chainsaw, a bowling ball, and a raw egg, you do personalized songwriting. And here's the thing: to uplift others by writing and singing their song back to them.
Yeah, that is something I didn't know I could do. And when I started doing it, it was such a gift to be able to share. And so I sit with people for 20 minutes, half an hour, and then I write a song based on their story, what they talk to me about. And then I sing their song back to them. And they do pay me. And when they do, they get the rights to that song. It's their song. So I can put it on a CD, but then they can listen to it anytime they want, and they can inspire themselves with it, uplift themselves. I do memorial songs for children or adults who've passed away. I do corporate songs. I do songs for TV or movies or, podcasts or things like that people have said, hey, I want a new song for my show. So it's something that I love to do, and I probably don't do very often. I'll tell you, I only do maybe about 10 a year, but it's such a gift when I get to do that for people.
I can imagine. I'm jealous. I've always, when I was a little girl, I wanted to learn how to write music. I wanted to make music happen. And it's not one of my skills. I can do a lot of things, but that's not one of them. And it just broke my heart until I realized that, there were other things I could do. And I keep running into people who do that. I have so many friends who are songwriters and musicians, because that is the thing that makes my heart just jump for joy. And Spirit knows that. And so here they come. And I get them on my show, and I get to retreats, and it's marvelous when we discover what our gifts are. And lean into them. And what I'm hearing you say is that that's a part of your ministry that you didn't put in the notes that you gave me.
Yeah, it is part of my ministry.
Part of what you do. You help people discover who and what they are, and lean into it. because
Yep.
sometimes you need a safety net when you lean into it.
Yep,
And
absolutely.
that's what you're doing, is you're building him a safety net, and that's marvelous. I love it.
Yeah. Well, and I always tell people my ministry is like a quilt. So there's little squares all over it, and I do it in lots of ways, because even for me, part of my ministry is just hugging someone and seeing more in them than what they're showing me. So I really do feel like it's just a whole tapestry, and I get to do that in different ways. And I probably have a little bit of ADHD, and so that helps me not get bored with one thing, because I've got 900 things to do.
I had a shrink tell me once I had ADHD because I could read a book and knit a sweater at the same time.
Yeah.
And I said, no, I'm sorry. I refuse to see that as a deficit.
Well, I definitely don't see it as a deficit. I do see it as a blessing for me. And yeah, and I'm like, okay, well, if I need a break from one thing, I've got something else, then I can go back to that. And that's probably also why I can juggle plates and bowling balls and raw eggs.
There you go. Pretty good. Now, is there anything else that you've got coming up new?
Like, I do have my new album. Yeah, I have my new album. I'm so excited. So when you were saying that, you wanted to be a songwriter when you were younger, I'm a songwriter, but I don't play any instruments or read sheet music. So I don't really know how that happened. I just sort of went, okay, look, I have a song coming through, and I recorded it on a phone. So I have to work with very talented people to get music out into the world. And so my new album, is going to be coming out March of 2025 and is being produced by Daniel Namod. So he is working with me to make sure that everything is beautiful. He's singing background vocals. It's been such a joy to work with him. And I will say, a lot of people don't feel completely connected to singers and songwriters and in the New Thought movement but I will tell you, his heart is as pure as you would hope it would be.
It is. It absolutely is. He sings with his whole self.
Yes, he does.
Every part of him, body, mind, and spirit, is in every song.
Yep, absolutely. So it's been so much fun.
Or it makes you cry, or it makes you do both, but it's all there.
Yep. It's all there. Yep.
That's a blessing right there to have Daniel on your team. That's just amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm very excited. I'm still going back and forth to California recording and getting all of that together. So that's been so much fun, and adding, a little bit of something to do on the side for my off days and my light days. And so I can't wait to release that. And it's going to be all new music that most people haven't even heard before of mine. So I'm very excited that we're getting that out. And and then my tour that's sold out is actually with Daniel Namod. So he and I started doing tours together, and it sold out. It sold out very, very quickly. So we will at probably in 2026 put another tour to Peru together, so that more people can join us to go to Peru with Daniel and I singing and ministering and having fun and playing with monkeys. So.
Well, this sounds like a perfect opening for the first of the 5 questions I ask all of my guests. Okay. So I'm just going to dive right in here and throw it out. The first one is the one my guests think is the most important. And that is there anything at all that you want our viewers to hear, to know, to see that I haven't asked you about?
Not about me, but probably about themselves. I mean, I really want people to know that the most important thing is that you connect to your heart and you find the path that is yours, and stop trying to pretend that you are something that you are not supposed to be. Find what you're meant to do. And if that's a scary thought, take a breath, because you already know what you're meant to do, and go do it and live it, because the world needs you just as you are. Just as you are.
Absolutely. Okay, well, that's wonderful. All right, here's the next question. How does everything you do in tourism, in speaking, in music, in parenting, the whole of you, how does that encourage, extend, expand, pick your own verb, conscious evolution?
Hmm. Well, every single thing that I do in my life, I do to try to encourage and inspire others so that we are all living a higher vibration, because we're all in this together. There's really only one of us, right? And so everything that I do, my music, my tours, everything is about healing and evolving, healing and growing, healing and going to the next, always the highest and best next step. And I do the same with my children, although they're children, so they don't always agree with me, and that's okay. They're their own people, and they get to choose what their path is. And my job is to encourage. So that is what I do in every aspect of my life, is encourage and love unconditionally. I love you just as you are. And you have somebody who's rooting for you. And sometimes that's really the most powerful ministry that we can give, is somebody to say, you already have the answers. You already know the answers. You're already powerful. You're already magical. Step into it and live it. And so that's really my entire ministry in a nutshell.
Boy, it is too. Okay, now the next question sounds like that one, but it's a different question. It really is.
Okay.
How does what you do and how you do it, how you be who you are, how does all of that encourage, unveil, support, enhance, pick your own verb, world peace?
Well, I would absolutely say that the reason we don't have world peace is because of disconnection. And so once that connection starts happening, it's a ripple effect. It's like fireworks going off. When we light one candle, then we light 1,000 candles, and those 1,000 candles can light 100,000 candles. So one smile, one that little story about the little sea star on the beach. If you can save one, if you can love one, you can love all. And so I think that's why it's so important for us to really get this. It was important for me to get it, because if I can love me and I can light that candle, I can make sure it's shining brightly. There's nothing I can't do in the world. And once we spread that light, that wildfire of love, that changes the world, and that brings world peace.
Oh, can I have that phrase, wildfire of love? That is so beautiful.
Wildfire, absolutely. I might write a song. We'll do wildfire of love. Yeah.
Okay, here's the next one. This one is usually my guest's favorite question.
Okay.
Not the most important, but the favorite one. You have to close your eyes.
They've been great so far. Okay.
Yeah, you have to close your dealing with. For the next 10 years, everything is going to proceed exactly as you want it to. Every encounter, every event, every relationship, every activity, every experience is going to be just exactly what you want it to be. With that as the premise, what does Cerise Patron, Reverend Cerise Patron, singer Cerise Patron, mama and wife Cerise Patron, look like 10 years from now?
Well, I can guarantee you I'll still be doing tours. I would say I'll be doing 5 tours a year. My daughter will be by my side doing them with me, because she's got a beautiful voice. And my son, Kenny, will be living in Australia, because that's his dream. And then that'll be one of the places I do tours. I will have released 5 new albums since then. And I will still be writing music for people. My day-to-day life won't change. I will have credentials making me a minister, and that will be amazing. And I will be able to go to Machu Picchu or go to these beautiful places and actually perform wedding ceremonies, because that's one of the things I want to do while we're on tour, so people can do that. And the world will be brighter it's already a little brighter today, and it will be even brighter. And we will have more hope and more peace and more love. And I will get to really do these tours, my music, my albums with other people, because I love doing collaborations together. I think it makes everything so much more powerful. And we'll get to travel the whole world. And I will have a tour in Egypt and one in Tahiti.
And one in Tahiti. Oh, those are just right next door to each other, aren't they?
Yep, exactly. Easy peasy.
Okay, last question.
Okay.
Will you come back?
Oh my gosh, yes.
My next opening is November 18th of next year. Can I pencil you in?
You sure can.
All right, then. And so we won't be here next week, but 2 weeks from
Okay, so
one of the coolest people on the face of the earth is going to be here talking to us about Emerson and about life in general. You don't want to miss it. See you then. Have a great weekend. Have a great holiday. And don't forget that I love you. Bye-bye.
Amazing, amazing. You will do amazing things. Amazing, amazing. You will do amazing things.
On behalf of everyone at New Thought Media Network, thank you for being a member of our virtual family. Your financial contributions help share the New Thought message with people from around the world. Please visit and contribute at www.ntmedia.org/donate. New Thought Media Network, come be you. And please like, share, and subscribe.